Hello, and thank you for joining us. People are on heightened alert following two active shooter situations in the U.S. today. The first happened at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, during an ROTC class. A retired Army officer was killed and two other people were injured. The gunman, who was also killed, had previously pleaded guilty in the U.S. over connections to ISIS. And in Michigan, a truck rammed into one of the biggest synagogues in the country. A security guard shot and killed the suspect, who exited the vehicle armed with a rifle. Dozens of preschool-aged children and their teachers were in the building at the time. Officials are expected to give an update on that incident any moment, and when that happens, we'll bring it to you live. But first, we go to CBS's Bradley Blackburn for details.
Smoke billowed from the roof of Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan, as dozens of police vehicles responded to reports of an active shooter.
At least one individual came to the temple. Security saw him, engaged him in gunfire.
Sheriff Michael Bouchard also told reporters law enforcement was already on alert for the possibility of anti-Semitic violence in light of the war in Iran.
There was no lack of preparation. In addition, all Jewish facilities in the area are going to have a lot of extra presence around it until we figure this out.
CBS News confirms the suspect is dead. According to authorities, the suspect, armed with a rifle, rammed a vehicle into the building, the crash sparking a fire.
The investigation will look at who the active shooter was, whether the active shooter was in touch with other individuals. We want to make sure this threat stream is contained, and how, when, and why this individual mobilized to violence.
West Bloomfield Public Schools went into lockdown. Jewish facilities in the area were urged to do the same. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
CBS News senior coordinating producer of the Crime and Public Safety Unit, Anna Schecter, joins us now. What do we know about what happened in Michigan?
Well, we know that a suspect rammed a vehicle into and actually breached the barrier of the synagogue through glass doors, drove down a hallway, and there were explosives in the vehicle that somehow either exploded or caught fire, started that fire. You see those black plumes of smoke coming out of the synagogue, which is really more than a synagogue. It's a school and a cultural center, a huge building, more than 12,000 members of this synagogue. So this is a big facility. Thankfully, everyone got out. Now, we did hear that 8 first responders were actually taken to a local hospital. So that is new from the last time we were talking a few hours ago. We knew that one person had been struck by the vehicle, a security guard, and was treated. He was actually knocked unconscious. But we heard that 7 others. Now, that could be related to smoke inhalation. We don't know. But first responders were treated. All the children, all the teachers were able to get out safely and are accounted for. But this is just an unbelievable attack, given the fact that you have the explosives. Now, we can also report that investigators believe that the suspect lives nearby in Dearborn, Michigan. So we are still waiting to get an identification on that person. But because of the explosion and the fire, the suspect's body was burned beyond recognition. So it's taken authorities some time to pin down his identity.
What about the Old Dominion University shooting?
Well, that happened a few hours before. Around 11 a.m., you had Mohammed Jallo, who previously had served time in federal prison for attempting to provide material support to ISIS. He was released in December 2024 and entered the university, entered into a specific building, and apparently asked, is this the ROTC class? Somebody said yes. He opened fire, shooting the teacher, wounding another person there, and then the students actually subdued him, jumped on him. One of them had a knife and killed him.
Can you talk a little bit about the motives that officials are looking into for both of these? I mean, we don't believe at this point they're connected, right? But this obviously is not happening in a vacuum.
That's right. We do not believe that both attacks, the attackers were working together. I also talked to counterterrorism sources. I said, was there some call to action by ISIS in these online spaces like on Telegram? They're not aware of one, but it's just this heightened threat environment given the war in Iran and given what is going on in that region. So we don't know that they're connected, but both are being investigated as terrorism cases. That is the posture of the FBI and the investigators that are supporting looking at these.
So likely the synagogue targeted because of the Jewish population there,
Absolutely.
and likely the university targeted because of that ROTC class.
100%. And we just heard the FBI special agent in charge give a presser down in Norfolk, Virginia, and she said that the attacker shouted Allahu Akbar at the time of the attack. And that, plus the prior conviction on terrorism-related charges, attempting to provide material support to a terrorist organization, that is why they are investigating it as terrorism.
Quickly, what is the significance of that phrase, Allahu Akbar?
It means God is great. I mean, in Arabic. So, in a prayer setting, this is just a normal prayer. It's just that if we go back in time and we look at previous terrorism cases, there have been other extremists who have taken this term and exploited it and used it while carrying out an attack. So it feels like we're just going back in time to the early 2000s when we did see more terrorism cases, and law enforcement learned a lot from those investigations. And we moved into a period where even the tech companies, Facebook, Meta, they were able to root out a lot of the ISIS recruiting mechanisms that were happening in online spaces. I'm talking about 2014, 15, 16. And now, unfortunately, we are seeing a big resurgence.
Okay. Anna Schecter, thank you. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd joins us. Sam is also a former assistant secretary for counterterrorism at the Homeland Security Department. So, Sam, Temple Israel is calling this a terrorist attack. The FBI is investigating today's deadly shooting in Old Dominion as a terror-related incident, and that's on top of this, quote, ISIS-inspired attempted bombing here in New York City last weekend. How much of a role are current events playing in what we're seeing?
Well, certainly there's been a longstanding threat from both ISIS-directed inspired individuals as well as Iranian-inspired and directed individuals to conduct terror plots here in the homeland. Recent events, including military operations against Iran, Israeli operations inside of Lebanon, and attacks by Iran throughout the region, certainly have supercharged various threat streams. We don't yet know the motivation behind the attack against Temple Israel in Michigan, but certainly the Iranian regime has a very long track record of both directing individuals and purposefully working to inspire individuals to conduct attack against Jewish institutions, Jewish entities, and individuals and entities perceived to be associated with the state of Israel.
When it comes to specific locations or groups of people, where is the highest risk level right now, or is it just evenly spread out all around?
Historically, it depends what threat stream you're speaking about, but historically speaking, Iranian-backed threat streams, as well as a range of ISIS and AQ-backed threat streams, al-Qaeda-backed threat streams, have targeted Jewish entities and individuals, targets associated with the state of Israel. But more broadly, Lindsay, there has often been a focus on soft targets, targets that are not heavily secured, and targets that are hosting mass gatherings, large groups of people. The goal is to inflict as much damage as possible in as high-profile manner as possible to inspire panic and to gain a lot of attention and notoriety. I will say, having worked very closely with the Jewish community as well as other religious communities, but the Jewish community in particular has really taken it upon themselves to hire their own private security, in addition to work that they do with officials from the federal government, state and local governments, and more. So a lot of synagogues around the country have very close partnerships with government at all levels, and then again have invested in their own security measures and protocols because of the very active threat environment.